a story that's still developing. Um, it's all playing out amongst the world. It is a very sad story, but we do have Cisco here with us. Welcome back, Cisco.
Hey, hey, thank you for having me again.
No problem. So I'm going to go ahead and read this article from local10.com just to give us some backing on this story. VH1 celebrity wants justice for 17-year-old sister shot in the head. Family says social media posts from gunmen tell a different story. Shooting was no accident, they say. This took place in Miami, Florida. Please help me spread light about my sister's case. The Miami police aren't doing anything, and they're trying to let the person who killed my 70-year-old, oh my goodness, 17-year-old sister get away with it. Posted singer Salome, also known as Betty Idol, on her Instagram page. Her sister, Giselle Rengifo, was shot in the head Monday night at a rented Airbnb. Rengifo was killed in a shooting in the 2700 block of Southwest 20th Street. Michael McGowan, age 17, is facing manslaughter charges after he said the shooting was accidental. Police arrived at the scene at 8:23 p.m. Monday to find Rengifo dead at the scene. Rengifo's family, including Salome, believe it was no accident. Giselle's mother, Catherine, and Aunt Tanya Westman referenced social media posts of McGowan's showing off with the gun. Salome tells a chilling story on her Instagram page about the incident with a photo of her sister, who she calls Gigi. This is coming from off of Betty Idol's page. I'm living in a nightmare ever since a young man sent me a DM telling me to please check on my sister Giselle Monday night, May 18th. He told me she was at an Airbnb hanging out with her friends and this guy she was seeing. He was on FaceTime with her until she quickly passed the phone to her friend and then a minute later heard a gunshot. The girl that was holding the phone looked to the ground and everyone started screaming. Then I called every police station, every hospital until I was able to finally speak to a homicide detective in South Miami who told me that my sister was taken from me and my family by a person she called a friend. I had to call my mom and give her the detective's number so he could tell her because I couldn't breathe. I couldn't tell my mom that my little sister was taken from us. This boy shot my sister in the head at close range and is only getting charged with manslaughter. This is not a manslaughter case. This is capital murder. Then they're trying to call it an accident. He told us that the four kids was that were there are saying it was an accident. My mom went to the police station and she was screaming, looking for my sister. She saw the kids and she saw the one friend my mom recognized, and the girl told her it was an accident and that she was sorry. We've been calling the police station trying to find my sister's body since Monday night. They didn't tell us till yesterday. My aunt went to look at my sister's body because we're not in good in a good headspace. And I don't think it's a good idea to see her with a bullet in her head and have that memory haunting us for the rest of our lives. So my aunt and two cousins went. They told us that my sister's face was swollen like a balloon. She has a black eye, and it looks like she was shot from the back of her head. The police aren't telling us anything. This happened on Monday, and they just made this article yesterday. I'm getting texts yesterday telling me that the killer is getting bail and his sister was bragging on live disrespecting my little sister. There are people saying there is another side to this story and I'm going to find out the truth and make sure my sister gets justice. Please help me spread this. Hashtag GG Giselle's mother, Catherine, and other family members want police to do more investigating. Miami Police Chief Jorge Colina, who hosted a news conference Thursday, said there could be additional charges. We are aware of social media posts, Kalina said. Now there are even more questions about where the shooting took place since short-term rentals like Airbnb were banned during the coronavirus pandemic. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis issued a March 27th executive order that blocked people from renting short-term lodging and other vacation properties during the public health emergency. The exception was that the rental was only to be used for essential lodging. Local 10 has reached out to Airbnb for comment. They sent us this statement. Our hearts break for those impacted by this tragic event. We are urgently investigating and stand ready to support Miami police. Devastated and distraught, Catherine Rengifo sobs. She was a beautiful person. She had a beautiful soul. Why did they take her? Please ask him, why did he take her from me? Three witnesses corroborated McGowan's account that he was holding the gun when it accidentally discharged, shooting Rengifo, age 17, in the head. Rengifo's aunt, Tanya Westman, tells Local 10 clearly it is not manslaughter. Giselle's sister, Salome, wants justice for her sister. She is known for appearances on VH1's Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, Season 5, and Cartel Crew, and is also famous for singing the hook on Rick Ross's single Thugs Cry. According to her mother, Giselle said that she was going to be staying at a friend's house, but later learned she was actually at a rented Airbnb. Her mother said she was concerned that she was at a vacation rental because of the pandemic, but her daughter told her she had used disinfectant to clean, and she assured her mother all was okay. Catherine told Local 10 that she let her daughter stay because she thought it would be good for her to spend time with a friend who was visiting from Atlanta since she had been confined because of stay-at-home orders. Well, this is a very, very interesting story because this is what the mainstream is, pushing. But when you look online, it's totally distorted since everybody else can chime in and say what needs to be said. But me and Cisco looked into this and we found a lot. Cisco, we found a couple things from Betty Idle off her page, and also um, off of the sister's page, alleged sister of McGowan. How do you
Right.
say that? McGowan's.
Yeah, I would say McGowan, yeah. And,
So,
and some other pages as well.
oh
But
yeah.
you know,
What I see from this is a bunch of teenagers doing things that, of course they don't have any business doing, but things going too far. Um, and that's exactly what it is pointing at with the statements that these kids are making online.
right. And that's one thing I was shocked in looking at this case is that how I just think social media just destroys the brain. I don't I mean I can't put it any other way that social media has this part in destroying people's brains because the the recklessness of some of the statements that have been said for the people who are in support of McGowan, which is the guy who is the alleged shooter who has been charged with manslaughter. And then I'll get to that a little bit later, what that means in the state of Florida. But they're just talking so they have statements that are damning statements that don't help the person that they support. Um in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't help him at all. In fact, it hurts. I would say that it hurts his case because his supporters say that it's an accident. um, Betty Idol, which is Giselle's sister, the reality TV star, and her family and supporters are saying that he actually shouldn't have been charged with manslaughter. He should have been charged with murder. Um, the next thing I'll talk about is that the charges. At the state of Florida, I'm not going to get into the details, but is there's a fine line between um, capital murder and manslaughter. And one thing I noticed in looking up the laws in Florida, um, I think the DA it made I know this is probably not what the family would like to hear, and they probably don't know this about the law, but um, if if a manslaughter is committed by a firearm or a weapon, it's considered as a first class felony. If I'm saying that right, first class or first degree felony. Um, Whereas a manslaughter is a second class or second degree felony. And the maximum charge on a manslaughter is 30 years. So it's like getting charged for murder if you get the maximum. And in addition to that, the at the press conference, the police officer, I don't know if it was the chief of police or detective or who it was, he said that there may be additional charges added on. If we were to go by the article, it says that he was handling the gun and it discharged. Now let's say, this is an assumption, the gun that this person has on their page um, was a revolver with hollow point bullets. It's going to be hard to say that if I'm handling a revolver, it can only discharge if I got the hammer cocked back. And if I have the hammer cocked back and it's pointing in the direction of a person, I may not have had intent to hurt or kill that person, but it's not an accident. I think that falls under negligence. That falls under negligence because you have to know that if the hammer is cocked back and I'm handling the gun and the gun is in the direction, all it takes is a faulty gun or a very sensitive trigger to make the gun go off. And you have to know that even if you don't know it, you're responsible for knowing that. And if it was not that gun, let's say it was an automatic, if I have one in the chamber, now different guns have different strengths on the trigger, they have different sensitivities on the trigger. Some of them, like a Glock, or has, once the slide has been pulled back and one is in the chamber, it doesn't take much for the gun to go off. And a Glock doesn't have a safety. So I think the accident, just this is me laying out the facts. It could have, I wasn't there. It could have been an accident, but I looking at the facts as they're laid out, as it's laid out so far, I think the claim of an accident is a hard claim, and I think that the DA knows that. That's why they charged him with manslaughter, because they can still get a heavy sentence on this case, and the simple fact that there may be additional charges to him and or other people that may have been complicit in the crime. And the last thing I'll say before I want you to comment on what I'm saying, LA, is the some of the things that we've both read on social media has pointed to the fact that she, had it coming. to her,
For
which trumps that. If y'all are saying that, then that means that it's not an accident. That's what I was meaning by uh them hurting his case. If you guys don't really understand, y'all don't read those user agreements. Everything you do on social media, police is watching. Haven't y'all seen the cases where somebody was dumb, robbed a bank or did rob somebody, and then they went on Facebook or somewhere and showed the money? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And the threats and the disregard for human life that I've seen, or people saying, I'm about that life, I'm real gangster. I don't understand that. I really don't understand. I come from a different generation. I come from where the gang culture was really started and promoted all through the United States. You know, it's a sad look. It's a sad that um this young girl was friends with people like that or associated with people like that. And another thing, that's another thing. People stop going to these Airbnb parties. Y'all got to stop that. Because how many cases have we talked about on this show, directly or indirectly, where somebody got killed at an Airbnb at a
hotel.
party?
Mm-hmm. At
So
a,
y'all need to leave them Airbnb parties alone.
well, I think that just to come back, like you said, if it was just me looking at the case black and white, okay, he got his friend saying that, they agree with what it was that took place, an accident. Okay, that would be it. But then when you go online and you see these young kids, like you said, with the disregard for life and the back and forth, it really is mind blowing. I just think that we need to learn from situations like this tenfold because, just like Cisco did, he could tell you the law in your area. All you got to do is type it in, you know. Um, I think
Yeah.
that I'm sorry, but this just is mind blowing. I think that this situation right here is something that these people need to learn about.
Another thing I said to you offline is really important, and this is why I think that um, this case is a perfect example of the school to prison pipeline,
Yes.
and because these are teenage. I think this dude is 19 years old, and I think young people need to understand that there is a system out there just waiting for you to be mindless, and they're going to make money off of you. The prison industrial complex is going to make money off of you. If you choose to be an idiot, if you choose to devalue your life and devalue your worth, and devalue other people's lives, uh, you're gonna sit in prison. And I personally believe this guy, Florida is y'all. I mean, people my age know Florida don't play. Okay, and if he gets convicted of manslaughter, I'm sure he will get a heavy sentence on this case, especially given the fact of how his supporters are reacting to it. Um, he can show all the remorse he wants, but all the evidence of how reckless this person is, he got the gun, showing the gun. I mean, it's all there. So a DA and the judge is going to look at that and be like, well, this guy is a menace to society. It was only a matter of time before he did something, and we need to get him off the streets. So I can see easily 20 to 30. He might get the maximum 30 on this one.
Well, just like you said, it all comes from that squad he got. All this stuff was gathered online, and that is really telling for the future. um, mm, this is so sad. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down here because we may have to come back because I feel like this is going to uh continue to be open, and
Oh
it's going
yeah.
to continue to develop. So we're going to
Oh
keep our eyes on this for sure. Rest in peace, Giselle, and let's see what happens.